So I just got an email from a fellow Alexander Technique teacher. I just finished my 3 years of training to teach the Alexander Technique. And this teacher says to me, you seem to have the makings of a contrarian, a stirrer, a troublemaker, an asker of indelicate and inconvenient questions. And if so, welcome aboard. The Alexander world needs you desperately. And I'm thinking, how could this man misunderstand me? I mean, me, Luke Ford, a lover of peace, is always like trying to smooth things over, trying to quiet everything down, just trying to make peace between various warring camps, just trying to go along to get along, just a quiet, humble soul sitting in the corner, studying my sacred texts, just teaching the technique in the most classical manner possible, never deviating from the things taught to me by my teachers, just playing always by the rules, being a good soldier, being a good Indian. And I think, how could this man think that I like to ask indelicate and inconvenient questions and stir up trouble and be a contrarian? Oh, perhaps I should examine my ways to see how I could have given this false impression. I remember in second grade, the teacher wrote in my report card, Luke is always very willing to share his opinions with the class, but he needs to learn to be slower, to be more gentle with the slower thinker. I remember someone else in high school, we were in a media class together. Media class, you only have media classes in American high schools. But anyway, like 10 years later, she remembered, nobody knew what to do with his brain because I was hyperverbal, like it's always like mouthing off. And I remember my high school journalism instructor, Bob Burge, wrote in my high school yearbook at Placer High School in 1984, he said, in all my years of teaching, I've never had a student challenge me as much as you have. So, yeah, I remember I was interviewing this Alexander teacher, and at the end of the official interview, we'd start recording. He said, so how do the other trainees react to you? Like, how do my teachers react to me? Because the way I learn is by like just giving a little challenge. Not too much of a challenge. Like when you're in an Alexander training school, you're in a fairly small room with the same people often for year after year after year. So I really don't want to get on anyone's nose too severely. But I don't just accept the things I'm said, and I'm not a careerist. I don't just like flatter my teachers and say back to them the things they want to hear so that they'll promote me and refer me students. But, you know, I challenge them. Is that really so? Or I like... I remember talking to a fellow trainee, and I said to her, oh, wow. I said to her, when did you get the idea that I like to stir things up? And she said, well, yeah, I've never seen you so happy as when you managed to trigger one of your teachers. Like, me get happy triggering people? Like, winding them up? Yeah, okay. So all my life, I just love to, like, wind people up. I just, like, I think one of my favorite ways to like wind people up in the Alexander world is to like imply that it's some sort of cult. I mean, that just like drives Alexander teachers batty. Just go, well, the way that Alexander people talk about FM Alexander, it's indistinguishable from the way that Scientologists talk about L. Ron Hubbard. That's like, what? Yeah, enjoy a little bit of provoking. That's how I learn, like by challenging. Not only challenging, that's part of the way I learn. A little bit of challenging, a lot of listening, a lot of reading, a lot of reflecting, and love talking to people who are intellectually engaged with the ideas that matter to me.